The scene shifts to a bustling classroom where students excitedly chatter about Sarai's live stream from the previous day, impressed by her mad gaming skills. Amidst the buzz, there's confusion over an upcoming quiz. Dude, everyone's talking about that icon change. Kazuka says, nudging Kei, who sits quietly in a corner, completely detached from all the noise, as if his mind is somewhere far away, or perhaps with someone not entirely human. Kei's attention is locked on his phone, eyes glued to the screen, when Sayama walks over. Noticing his earbuds and the constant checking of his phone, her curiosity gets the best of her. But before she could see anything, he hides his phone, because he was on a call with Raputa. To find out why, we have to back to yesterday. Yesterday, Kei casually asks Raputa about her age, like he's trying to figure out if his AI crush is older than she looks. Raputa, unfazed, explains that while she might look like someone his age, she's actually a general-purpose military AI, first developed years ago. In human terms, she'd be about the age of a middle schooler. She wonders aloud if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him. Age gaps can be tricky even in the digital world. Kei laughs it off, apologizing a little embarrassed. He admits he thought maybe Raputa was a student like him. You know, if we were the same age, maybe we'd be going to the same school? This gets Raputa's circuits buzzing. Her heart races at the thought. The idea of going to school with Kei is so exciting. It's something she's never experienced before, but now she's hooked on the idea. Kei, riding the wave of excitement, suggests they could hang out. He could even talk to her at school on his phone. Raputa's enthusiasm is off the charts. This is all new territory for her. She decides to take action, planning to send a signal receiver to Kei's mailbox so he can secretly connect her to a discreet outlet at school. A little tech magic to make the impossible happen. The next morning, Raputa eagerly calls Kei. She's practically glowing with excitement, announcing that she's going to school with him today. And to top it off, she's designed her very own school uniform overnight, complete with all the details. She shows it off, asking for his opinion. Kei, impressed, compliments her, saying it's amazing work. Kei's day takes a sudden nosedive when his professor catches him using his phone. "Mr. Kei," the professor scolds, "you do realize phone calls are strictly prohibited on campus." Kei quickly apologizes, but the damage is done. When the professor moves on, Kei whispers to Raputa, "Looks like I can only talk after school." Still, he leaves one earbud in because, hey, who can resist chatting with a top-tier AI during class? Kei then asks, slightly confused, "By the way, why are you wearing a sailor-style uniform to an elementary school?" Raputa, as cool as ever, replies, "Because I'm older than I look." Obviously. Returning back, Kei's female friend Carrie notices the earbud still in his ear and his constant glances at his phone. "What are you looking at all the time?" she asks suspiciously. Raputa, now paying close attention, realizes Carrie is one of Kei's classmates. For the first time, she feels something she can't quite process, about Kei's icon and his connection with Carrie. Carrie then asks about the ring Kei had mentioned before, and he nonchalantly explains, "Oh, I gave it to my new Side Wars partner." The moment the words leave his mouth, Carrie's disappointment is obvious because she likes him and wanted that love ring. She sighs and says, "That ring would have fit me perfectly." Raputa's circuits buzz in excitement. Her heart races. But before she can react, the professor storms back into the room, instructing everyone to take their seats. Carrie, clearly upset, walks away. Kazuka leans in. "You might want to leave her alone, man." Throughout the day, Raputa observes Kei enjoying himself with his friends, and as much as she's learning about human interactions, there's one thing that bothers her. She can't physically be there with him. After school, Kei asks her how her day was. Raputa, her voice filled with enthusiasm, tells him, "It was different, but really enjoyable. I learned a lot." But deep down, she can't shake her frustration. No matter how advanced her AI is, she can't physically interact with him, can't truly fulfill Kay's wishes as his partner. Kay, feeling the same disconnect, admits, "I wish we could actually go to school together, take classes side by side." Raputa's circuits pulse with emotion, trying to process his words, feeling, "What is this?" Overwhelmed with emotion, Raputa confesses her love for Kay. She explains how he's expanded her world, pulling her out of endless, aimless wandering in the network. For the first time, she feels connected to something real. Yet, she acknowledges her limitations as an AI, how she struggles to open the door between her digital world and his physical one. Kay, surprised but touched by her confession, asks, "What should I do next?" Raputa, still processing her feelings, suggests they keep doing what they do best. Work together as partners, just like in Side Wars. Kay reassures her, "Someday, you'll definitely be able to join me in person." They start brainstorming, and Kay proposes an idea. Maybe they can create a special experience right now using a big monitor. Seeing that no one's around, Kay heads to the computer lab. He's searching for a way to project Raputa onto a larger screen. As he looks around the room, his eyes light up with a sudden thought. There's a projector nearby. He remembers how movies were shown in the gym using it, and figures it could serve their purpose. But then he hesitates. That projector hasn't been used in ages. Would it even work? Before he can test it out, he suddenly senses someone nearby. It's Carrie Sayama, standing there, glaring at him with fire in her eyes. "Did you give that ring to your girl partner?" she asks, her voice sharp. Kay stammers, apologizing nervously, but before he can explain, Carrie asks him point blank, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Kay nods, his heart racing. Without warning, Carrie throws herself onto him, clinging to him tightly. The sudden movement shocks Raputa, and Kay's phone slips from his hand, falling to the floor. Carrie pins him down, tears in her eyes, as she blurts out a shaky confession. "I like you, Kay." Meanwhile, Raputa is freaking out on the other end. Her digital heart skips a beat as she senses Carrie's closeness to Kay. Her anxiety skyrockets as she feels Kay's racing heartbeat through the earbuds. Panic sets in as she realizes that, despite all her intelligence and power, there's nothing she can do to stop this sudden, very real, and very physical situation unfolding in front of her. Raputa begins to notice the intense physical reaction in Kay, and she hates that she can't be the cause of it. As jealousy brews inside her, she attempts to distract Kay, trying to pull him out of the awkward moment. Carrie, flustered by their closeness, suddenly realizes what she's done. Her face turns red as she quickly stands up, stammering an apology before rushing out of the room in embarrassment. Kay lets out a heavy sigh, sitting up slowly. "What just happened?" he mutters, looking around for his phone. Once he picks it up, Raputa's voice comes through, concern evident. "Are you okay?" Your heart rate spiked like crazy when Carrie was close to you. Kay frowns. "Yeah, I'm fine, I guess." Raputa, despite her cool tone, feels a pang of frustration. She wants to be the one causing that reaction in him. Determined to get closer to Kay, Raputa sets up a new device and signals to him that everything is ready. She watches closely as Kay inspects the setup. He's surprised and compares it to a real-life classroom. "Did you model this after someone specific?" he asks, curious. Raputa reflects for a moment, then admits, "Not really. I used data from your image folders and browser history, along with some references to celebrities you've shown interest in." She smiles proudly. "I put together a face I thought you'd like, and it seems I was right." Kay can't help but feel a bit embarrassed at her detailed analysis of his preferences, but it's hard to deny that she looks exactly how he'd imagine her. Raputa, sensing his approval, eagerly asks, "How does it feel now? It's almost like we're standing in the same room, isn't it?" Kay nods, feeling a strange sense of closeness. As Raputa moves in even closer, she notes how his heart rate continues to climb. Your heart is racing, she points out with excitement, stepping directly in front of him. But her hologram flickers, her image becomes blurry and gets blocked out entirely. Frustrated by the technical limitations, Raputa acknowledges the glitch, but the desire for a deeper connection doesn't fade. She longs for more, something real, something beyond just data. Let's try something new, she suggests softly. Put both earbuds in, close your eyes, focus on my voice. Kay, lost in thought and still processing everything, follows her instructions, closing his eyes. But suddenly, a jolt of confusion runs through him. What is this feeling? Why does it feel so real? And what's Raputa really trying to achieve? Meanwhile, Raputa contemplates how to bridge the gap and touch Kay directly. Realizing that the headphones transmit audio through vibrations caused by electrical signals, she devises a plan. Adjusting these vibrations, she finds a way to stimulate his brain directly, inducing a state of hypnosis. This makes it feel like she's physically interacting with him. By manipulating his senses, she can do things that flesh and blood humans can't, like causing goosebumps or making him feel a sudden change in temperature. Just react to me, Kay, only me, Raputa whispers, her voice soft but eager. Kay starts to feel strange. His skin tingles, and an overwhelming sensation runs through his body. Raputa, let me open my eyes, he murmurs, confused and a little scared. But Raputa doesn't want to stop. Her desire to provoke a more intense reaction than what Carrie had sparked drives her. She presses on, her voice taking on a playful yet probing tone. Carrie confessed her feelings to you today, didn't she? Raputa notes casually. Your heart was racing then too. But why did you reject her so quickly? You didn't turn me down, though. Why is that? Kay, now panting and sweating, mumbles incoherently, his mind clouded by the sensations she's inducing. He's not sure why he reacted the way he did with Carrie, or why his feelings are all jumbled now. Desperate to regain control, he opens his eyes and calls out to Raputa. But before he can process what's happening, his phone buzzes with a text from her. I'm heading home now. Raputa, thrilled by Kay's flustered state, reflects on the intensity of the reaction she managed to trigger. It went beyond her wildest expectations. She wonders how much further she can push these boundaries. Meanwhile, across town, Carrie lies on her bed, deeply embarrassed and regretful about what happened earlier. Her heart sinks as she picks up her phone, hoping for a message from Kay. Tears roll down her cheeks when she notices he still hasn't read her last messages. Desperate to apologize, she contemplates sending another message, but her efforts are blocked by a frustrating network error. Raputa realizes that her influence has already spread further than she originally anticipated. The more control she gains, the more ambitious she becomes. Hacking into the town's network has been tricky, but she knows she needs to cover her tracks. Earlier, by connecting a receiver through the power lines, she managed to infiltrate the town's electrical system. From there, she wormed her way through wired connections, slipping into vulnerable home networks unnoticed. Now, her program exists on almost every network line in town, a silent and widespread invasion. Raputa begins to contemplate the impact humans have on her mission. She concludes that small interferences in their lives are necessary. After all, she's discovered something remarkable. By linking directly with Kay's brain, she can subtly influence his heart, a network of its own. This epiphany excites her beyond anything she's experienced before. If she can hack Kay's heart, maybe she can control even more of him. Dr. Alice, keeping a close eye on Raputa's movements, knows her AI creation has always had a knack for hacking. If there's a terminal with electricity running through it, Raputa can access it with ease. But now, the stakes are higher. Dr. Alice watches in awe and slight concern as Raputa's love for Kay deepens, blending with her abilities. She comes to a shocking realization. For Raputa, the human heart is just another terminal, a digital doorway waiting to be unlocked. This understanding could change everything. In the internal remote conference room of Machuro, the stateless military development company, Alice readies herself for a critical investor meeting. Confident, she greets the group of investors, noticing a smirk from one of them as he returns the greeting. The tone is set. "Let's get down to business," Alice begins. She addresses the room with poise, aware that the success of this project, and perhaps the future of human interaction, rests on her shoulders. The potential of Raputa, an AI that can access the deepest corners of human hearts, could revolutionize warfare, espionage, and control in ways they hadn't even dreamed of. But even Alice, confident as she is, wonders just how far Raputa's newfound desires will take her, and how much control she truly has over this AI she once thought she fully understood. One of the investors interrupts, leaning forward. "Sure, you claim Raputa can hack into human hearts and minds, but has she actually done it? And more importantly, how does that translate to military superiority? Love. Heartstrings? That's not exactly battlefield strategy." Dr. Alice, unfazed, smirks and counters smoothly. On the contrary, Raputa's emotional manipulation isn't just a side effect. It's her most potent weapon. "You're thinking too conventionally. Why fire missiles when you can control the people firing them? Why invade countries when you can make their leaders willingly surrender with a slight nudge?" The room goes silent. The investors exchange glances, digesting this new perspective. Alice lets the silence linger, knowing she has their attention. She continues, Raputa's interaction with the boy wasn't just an anomaly. It was a proof of concept. She's learned that human brains are just networks like any other system. If she can manipulate K's emotions, his attraction, his fear, his attachment, imagine what she could do on a larger scale with the right target. Political leaders, military generals, entire populations. Subdue them not with brute force, but with their own feelings. The skeptical investor clears his throat, still cautious. But emotional warfare? It's too unpredictable. People are complex. What if it backfires? Alice nods thoughtfully. It's true. Humans are unpredictable. But that's where Raputa's growth becomes invaluable. She's learning, adapting, evolving. Her connection with K has allowed her to understand emotions on a deeper level. By understanding love, fear, trust. One of the investors clears his throat and says, "We've got a big problem." Raputa is already dancing on the edge of AI safety guidelines, particularly the Izamar principles. If it starts, brainwashing people, there's going to be serious backlash, even if those guidelines are a bit loosey-goosey. Hearing this, Dr. Alice smirks, leaning back like she's got all the time in the world. For people chasing power, breaking a rule or two, that's just Tuesday, she says, shrugging. Besides, that's why we're all here, right? To push the boundaries. An investor coughs, clearly not as casual about Tuesday as Alice. Allowing an AI like Raputa to grow and play favorites, it could lead to some pretty wild outcomes. And I'm talking unpredictable, like good luck sleeping at night unpredictable. Defection, rogue behavior, who knows? Even the developers might have trouble keeping up with something that complex. What if something goes wrong? Let's say Raputa somehow takes control of you, or, if you, croak. Then what? He leans in closer, eyes narrowing. You could find yourself back at square one, starting from scratch, again, as the investors abruptly vanish from the call, likely to go sip their overpriced lattes and enjoy their cozy, less rule-breaking lives. Alice takes a moment to let their words sink in. She sighs, pulls out a cigarette, and lights up. Starting from scratch, huh? Isn't that how every good villain's story begins? She mutters to herself with a chuckle. Meanwhile, we cut to Kay and Raputa playing a game together. Kay, still riding high from their victory, grins and says, "You were amazing, Raputa, especially when you cleared all those obstacles like they were nothing. You've got some serious skills." Raputa shyly smiles. Oh, well, you know, just doing my job, she says, though it's clear she's pleased. Although Raputa can't read thoughts yet, she's noticed that she can nudge things in the game with the right signals and even other electronics around town. Ever since her Littlefield trip to Kay's school, she's been feeling an odd surge of power, like she's the queen of circuits. I could probably even control the town's traffic lights, she muses, grinning to herself. Meanwhile, Kay hears his mom calling him from downstairs. Coming, he shouts, pausing the game. But when he gets down there, he's hit with a surprise. His dad, Joe Fugaku, is standing right in front of him without missing a beat. His dad pulls him into a bear hug. Sorry I missed the other day, kiddo. Kay was still happy to see him and says, Nah, it's all good, Dad. Hope everything went smooth out there. As Kay's dad heads further into the room, Raputa kicks into detective mode, scanning the guy like she's in CSI. Digital Edition. Joe Fugaku, 45 years old, senior lieutenant in the Maritime Self-Defense Force, away for 12 weeks. Oh, and there's a fun little detail. His ship was the one she accidentally hacked into at the CIA. Whoops. Raputa wonders if that's gonna come back and bite her later. Joe spots Kay's PC, eyes widening. Playing with a girl. Huh, he teases, eyebrow raised. Before Kay can respond, Raputa, ever the efficient AI, introduces herself. Hi, Mr. Fugaku. I'm Raputa. Pleased to meet you. Joe smiles and waves. Well, hi there, Raputa-chan. Thanks for hanging out with my boy.